It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today, high 52. Tonight and overnight, a few clouds, low 40, and then warmer for Friday. Sunshine, high 64. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 32 and clear in Pearl River up in Rockland. It's 31 and clear in West Windsor over in New Jersey. And it's 34 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
It was an incredibly emotional day in the Gilgo Beach murders case. It looks like J.D. Vance wants to lead the Iran ceasefire negotiations. A wild daytime smash and grab at a jewelry store in Perth Amboy. There's another bad news cop, this time in Mount Vernon. And there's an update on Rocky, the dog stolen from a New Jersey home. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Rex Uerman, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, well, now we can officially call him that, no longer alleged, confessed yesterday to killing 8 women on Long Island, bringing an end to a case that has spanned more than a decade and bringing closure to the families of the victims. Rex Uerman pleading guilty to the murders of 7 women and publicly admitting to an 8th murder. Now, we had not heard from him at all, right? This is the first time we heard his voice. Here he was in court yesterday, Suffolk County.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Have you had enough time to discuss this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
After discussions with your lawyer, you feel it's in your best interest to plead guilty rather than go to trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which your attorneys represented you in this case?
Yes, I am.
I must say that the attorneys on both sides of this case have been excellent, unbelievable lawyers. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the Suffolk County DA says he was ready for a full-on trial, but Uerman's lawyer revealed the 2 key reasons why he suddenly flipped and fessed up to viciously killing 8 sex workers after years of maintaining that he was innocent. His defense attorney claimed his client finally decided to cop to the killings to shield the victims' families and his own family from hearing the gory, grisly details of his cold-blooded slayings during a trial.
I can't, I'm not in his position, obviously, and I never will be. But when you have that type of in your head and on your body, and just, yeah, I think by admitting it, I think it's cathartic to some extent, sure.
He also said that the killer's decision also came after 2 devastating rulings by a judge that allowed all the DNA evidence to be used and refusing to sever the charges or to, different trials, which is what they had been asking for. The families of each victim, they were present in the courtroom as the Suffolk County DA listed out the victims, asking Uerman how he killed each individual one. Each time his answer was strangulation. And then they fielded questions afterwards from reporters. Here is more from Uerman's lawyer. He was asked whether Uerman had expressed any remorse for what he did.
I expect at sentencing he'll have something to say. I'll leave it at that.
And then the families, they gathered outside the courtroom after the plea. Melissa Kahn, she's the sister of victim Maureen Barnes, who went missing back in 2007, says her family finally has just a little bit of closure.
Today, it's not about the person responsible. Today, it's about the women's lives who were stolen and their families. 19 years, I lived in a space between heartbreak and hope. Throughout these years, I searched for answer, for truth, for justice.
Prosecutors say Uerman likely to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's set to be sentenced on June 17th. And coming up after 5:30, we're going to hear from Rex Uerman's wife. What did she know? Did she know anything? And from more of the victims, that's after 5:30. 5:04. An arrest and a slew of charges after a deadly apartment fire in Queens.
The fire happened on the afternoon of March 16th in a building at the corner of Avery and College Point Avenues in Flushing, Queens. 4 people died, including a 3-year-old girl. On Wednesday, police arrested Roman Amma Titla. The 38-year-old man faces 8 counts of murder, 12 assault counts, 8 counts of arson, and more. No word from police on a motive for doing it. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
Mayor Mamdani's signature campaign promise will not be fulfilled anytime this year.
The mayor's been forced to hit the brakes on his signature campaign promise of free buses. The proposal has fallen by the wayside in both the state and city spending plans. And that means people who've been banking on free rides across the city are going to have to wait at least a year. Now the mayor is focusing on bringing back a fare free bus pilot program, which has gotten at least some support in both houses of the state legislature. In New York, I'm Daria Albinger.
And as Mayor Mamdani nears 100 days in office, that's tomorrow, a new poll shows nearly half of New Yorkers approve of the job he's done so far.
The new Marist poll says 48% of city residents approve of Mayor Mamdani, while 30% disapprove and 23% remain undecided. The poll says 55% view Mamdani favorably and 56% believe the city is moving in the right direction. That's up from 31% last October under former Mayor Adams. Overall, 100 days in, Mamdani is viewed less favorably than Mayor Adams was at the end of his first 100 days. In 2022, 61% of city residents approved of his job as mayor.
All right, and coming up after 5:30, we're going to hear from Mayor Mamdani how he will celebrate 100 days in office. 5:06, White House says Iran must open the Strait of Hormuz immediately. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt talking to reporters yesterday about Iran closing the strait in response to those Israeli strikes taking place in Lebanon. She says all that is just not true.
That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the strait today. And I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly, and safely.
She says those peace negotiations will continue with Iran as long as the strait does remain open. She says the press has been falsely reporting about a proposed Iranian peace plan. She says it's not exactly what they have. They don't have it right, is exactly what she's saying.
It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false. I can announce that the president is dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend. The first round of those talks will take place on Saturday morning, local time.
So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, he says the U.S. has devastated the Iran regime ability to harm Americans and our interests for years to come. He says this has been a very successful operation.
Since the beginning of major combat operations, the United States Joint Force has struck more than 13,000 targets, including in that 13,000, more than 4,000 dynamic targets that popped up on the battlefield and were immediately addressed.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, he was speaking out yesterday, said Iran begged for the 2-week ceasefire.
President Trump had the power to cripple Iran's entire economy in minutes. But he chose mercy. He spared those targets because Iran accepted the ceasefire under overwhelming pressure. The new Iranian regime understood that a deal was far better than the fate that awaited them.
WABC News Time, 5:09. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is set to lead peace talks with Iran, suggesting Israel may scale down its attacks in Lebanon.
The Israelis, as I understand it, have actually offered to be, frankly, to check themselves a little bit in Lebanon because they want to make sure that our negotiation is successful.
Now, the vice president went on to say that that issue may be a legitimate misunderstanding by the Iranians because Lebanon was never part of the current peace plan. So Vance is going to travel to Pakistan to head up the peace talks with Iran this weekend.
If Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb.
So those talks begin on Saturday. Meanwhile, Iran looking to capitalize on cryptocurrency in the Strait of Hormuz during these 2 weeks of the ceasefire.
A spokesperson for Iran's oil, gas, and petrochemical products exporters union told the Financial Times that Iran reportedly intends to require ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz to pay the cryptocurrency equivalent of $1 per barrel of oil. The waterway is a key channel where about a fifth of the world's oil flows through. According to the spokesperson, ships need to email Iranian authorities about what they're carrying, and the measures are being put in place to make sure weapons are not carried through the strait. I'm at Mattinson.
European leaders expressing support for this ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. More from correspondent Ross Cullen.
The French president held a National Security and Defense Council meeting on Wednesday, and during that, he praised the conditional ceasefire between Tehran and Washington. He argued that the halt to the fighting must also include Lebanon. Israel says the ceasefire does not extend to its ongoing operations inside Lebanon against Hezbollah.
And President Trump says the U.S. may not be there for NATO when they need us because NATO wasn't there for us during the Iran war.
He made the comments in a Truth Social post on Wednesday, shortly after finishing a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. The meeting came as the president bashes NATO's unwillingness to support the U.S. in the Iran war, although it was scheduled prior to the announced 2-week ceasefire with Iran. Speaking on CNN after the meeting, Rutte said Trump is disappointed with NATO allies and he can see his point. Trump has gone so far as to threaten the U.S. withdrawal from NATO, but it's unclear if this was discussed during the meeting. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
You might have noticed at the gas pump that prices continue to go up, even though the ceasefire has been announced, and it may take a while before apparently they'll come back down. Some drivers in Manhattan and over in New Jersey say they were surprised because they thought maybe the numbers would immediately start coming down.
I've been seeing like a $2 jump.
And I'm looking at gas and it's over $4 a gallon and it's just not registering. I'm like, we can't keep getting assaulted like this.
So the issue is the U.S. Energy Information Administration says it'll take time to get the oil flowing through the strait. And so they warn gas prices could go up to as much as $4.30 a gallon before they hopefully will come back down.
It's just business. I'm not mad at them for doing it, but if people think because the strait is open, all of a sudden gas is coming down at the pump, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen like that.
It may be a couple weeks. 5:13, former Attorney General Pam Bondi will not appear for a House Oversight Committee deposition next week as the Jeffrey Epstein files investigation continues. More from Tony Waterman.
This refusal to appear before the panel seems to hinge on a technicality. The Justice Department telling the Oversight Committee that Bondi was subpoenaed in her capacity as Attorney General. And since she's no longer in that post, she won't appear at the April 14th deposition.
Bondi, of course, fired by the president last week.
Democrats on the panel have rejected that argument, saying she was summoned by name, not position, and point to other former AGs that have also been subpoenaed. The committee says it's reached out to Bondi's lawyers to discuss next steps.
5:14, Bay Area Congressman Eric Swalwell denying claims of inappropriate relationships with young staffers.
On Tuesday, the leading Democratic candidate for California governor spoke with reporters after an evening town hall at the Scottish Rite Masonic Center in Sacramento. He shot down the claims, which originated online. Swalwell says no staffers have been asked to sign non-disclosure agreements in the 13 years he has served in Congress. He also says no ethics complaints have been filed against him and denied ever having a sexual relationship with a staff member or an intern. A spokesperson for Swalwell calls it a false, outrageous rumor. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Attorney Michael Avenatti, remember him? There was a talk that he was going to run for president. Then he went to jail. He's now serving his time in a Hollywood halfway house after he was released from prison on Tuesday.
Avenatti repped Stormy Daniels in her lawsuit against Donald Trump and the women who accused then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of misconduct. However, the tables turned after he was sentenced to 11 years in prison for various crimes, including a $20 million extortion scheme against Nike and stealing $300,000 from Stormy Daniels. Avenatti is not a fully free man as he must serve time in the halfway house and he's required to participate in mental health treatment. I'm Chris Coraggio.
In a moment, we'll head to outer space. We'll hear from the Artemis II crew as they make their way back to Earth. First 5:15 now, though. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start out here in Queens. Mets fell 7-2 to the Diamondbacks. David Peterson, he'll allowed 5 runs in 5 innings. The left-hander who made the NL All-Star team last year has a 6.14 ERA this season and a 7.83 ERA in his last 12 starts dating back to August of last year. Up next for the Mets, Nolan McLean will start tonight's finale and rubber game of this 3-game series. First pitch is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. In the Bronx, Yankees lost 3-2 to the Athletics after Brent Rooker hit a go-ahead sac fly off David Bednar in the ninth inning. New York's Ben Rice had the first 4 strikeout game of his big league career, and the Yankees went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, dropping a 22 for 97 this year. That's a 227 clip. Up next for the Yankees, the lefty Ryan Weathers will get the start in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game set. First pitch from the Bronx is scheduled for 1:35 p.m. Looking ahead to hardwood action in the NBA tonight. Knicks, they're back at it at 7:30 to welcome in the Celtics. And then the Nets, they're back at it out in Brooklyn to welcome in the Indiana Pacers, also at 7:30. And on the ice last night, Rangers lost to the Sabres 5-3. Tonight, the Islanders, they're back at it to welcome in the Maple Leafs at 6:45. And the Devils, they're at home as well out in New Jersey at 7. They will host the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it is Thursday, April 9th. Hello, friends. A tradition unlike any other. We'll head to Augusta National Golf Club at about 7:25 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. Noam Layden for the ceremonial tee-off shot featuring Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson for the 2026 Masters Tournament.
What are the sandwiches that they eat there? That's like it's an
pimento cheese.
Pimento cheese, that's it, yeah.
You ever had one?
No, doesn't really sound that appealing.
It's
either.
not. It's really not that appealing.
I mean, if you had enough cocktails, maybe that would go down.
Well, of course, it soaks up. It's that white bread. It soaks up all the booze.
Yeah.
But it's just a cheese sandwich that they charge you $15 for.
I bet it's more than that.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard stories of people. You go to Augusta National, you spend $10,000, $20,000 at the pro shop.
Yeah, because it's like a bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah,
you can.
There's things you can only get there.
Right.
So I guess bang for your buck. But first group goes out this morning.
These people are crazy.
They really
I'm telling you.
They are crazy. They are crazy. They're nuts. First group goes out at 7. I would be one of them, though. By the way, I'd be the first one to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I would probably dive into a pimento sandwich as well.
Yeah, why not? You kidding me?
There's this guy in an Eagle sweatshirt that won't get away from the top.
It's the only green I had. It's the only green I could find. Scotty Scheffler, who's your favorite to win off the bat? Plus 510 odds for him. John Rahm, the Spaniard, he's at plus 900. Bryson DeChambeau at plus 1050. And your defending champion, Rory McIlroy, going for another green jacket at plus 1175 odds. That is your sports Noel, man. I'm Justin Ullich on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:19. I was talking to my brother. I have lots of them, but this one lives in Los Angeles. And in LA, the people who live there got the first shot at Olympic tickets for the 2028 Summer Olympics. So he was like, I'm going to spend a fair amount of money. And he did. He got ping pong. He got weird sports. But he said, they were good deals. So today, the general tickets for the Olympics go on sale for everybody else. So whatever's left, I guess.
They're only available to people who pre-registered earlier this year. Local residents were able to buy $28 tickets over the past week, and most were snapped up within minutes. But more are on the way, with organizers promising at least $1 million $28 locals-only tickets before the games begin. Around 5% of the tickets will cost more than $1,000, while half will be under $200. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Yeah, he was telling me the tickets for the opening games, opening ceremonies, they started at like $3,000 a day. He was like, I'm not going for that. The Artemis II crew remembering one of the most powerful moments of their trip around the moon during a call with reporters last night. Mission Commander Reed Wiseman recalled when the crew asked to name a lunar crater after his late wife.
It was getting emotional there, and I think when Jeremy spelled Carol's name Carroll, I think for me that's when I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I looked over and Christina was crying.
He says it was one of the biggest bonding moments of the trip. Carol Wiseman died of cancer back in 2020.
That was kind of the pinnacle moment of the mission for me. That was, I think, where the four of us were the most forged, the most bonded, and we came out of that really focused on that day ahead. I think that was a very caging moment for the four of us.
They are on their way back home. Pilot Victor Glover says he's looking forward to the splashdown.
We have to get back. There's so much data that you've seen already, but all the good stuff is coming back with us. There's so many more pictures, so many more stories.
Meantime, the public, we are getting first look at some of the photos of the moon that were snapped by the astronauts, and they're pretty fantastic.
From the crystal clear captures of lunar craters to our own home planet setting behind the moon. A jaw-dropping perspective. Perhaps the most stunning, that 53-minute solar eclipse with the sun's corona lighting up the entire outline of the moon.
That crew making history by flying deeper into space than any humans before and becoming the first to see the entire other side, dark side of the moon.
Science crews back on Earth, eager to dig into the first human observations of the far side of the moon in more than half a century, including the unexpected colors the crew saw, which could help determine focal points for future missions.
But today the focus is on, and the top priority is getting the crew safely back home. Here's NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman.
I'll breathe easier when we get through re-entry and everybody's under chutes and in the water.
Yeah, I bet. The Orion capsule scheduled to splash down at 8:07 p.m. Friday off the coast of San Diego. 522, a new study finds that raising a child here in the U.S. now costs more than $300,000.
According to LendingTree's 2026 report, expenses associated with raising a child are up nearly 2% from last year's report. LendingTree found that over the last year, 14 states saw year-over-year cost increases of up to 10%. Hawaii, Maryland, and Massachusetts topped the list for the most expensive states to raise a child. The analysis also indicated the overall 18-year cost has gone up nearly 28% since 2023. I'm Monica Nelson.
Wait, so you're telling me I'd have $600,000 in my pocket if I hadn't had kids? Meta debuting its new AI model.
It comes after the tech giant's disappointing rollout of its Llama 4 family of AI models in April. Since then, Meta invested over $14 billion in Scale AI for a 49% stake in the company and hired Scale AI founder Alexander Wang as its first ever chief AI officer. Industry insiders say the move was an attempt to catch up with an AI market that's being dominated by Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. Meta's new AI model is the first from the company's new Muse series. I'm Matt Mattinson.
Tiger Woods officially charged with DUI yesterday in connection with his car accident in Florida last month. According to multiple reports, Woods charged with refusing to take a chemical or physical test in addition to DUI, both charges misdemeanors. On March 27th, the 50-year-old golf legend allegedly hit the back of a trailer while driving in Jupiter Island, rolling his Land Rover. Following the crash and his subsequent arrest, Woods announced that he is stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on his health, apparently doing that overseas. 524, a campus gym at the University of Southern California introducing a new policy that bans men from working out when women are present. Well, why would we go to the gym then?
The USC student group SAGE, in conjunction with the Lion Center, pushed for the change to create what they call a more comfortable workout space for women and non-binary students after complaints. SAGE describes itself as committed to uplifting all voices oppressed by the patriarchy. The Daily Trojan reports the plan excludes men from working out in portions of the Robinson Room at the Lion Center to 1 hour each day, 2 days a week. I'm Sharon Reardon.
You remember there used to be those all-women gyms. I don't know if they're still around. A new study shows women between the ages of 40 and 65 feel there are mental health benefits from going to nightclubs.
Researchers at the University of Leeds surveyed women in that age range and found that more than half say they could be a different version of themselves in the club environment, and it contributed significantly to their mental and physical health. Some participants explained they count clubbing as part of their fitness routine. The study was published in the journal Psychology of Music. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
A dietitian highlighting the nutritional value of cottage cheese, Dr. Kristen Kirkpatrick. She is with the Cleveland Clinic, says cottage cheese has a lot of helpful bacteria, a great source of protein, and is not ultra-processed food.
So you can get a whipped cottage cheese, or you can take cottage cheese, put it in your blender. It will whip it for you. So it will make it really nice and creamy. And then you don't get that idea of like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing these chunks.
All right. She says versions that are higher in protein and fat may keep you fuller for longer. Of course, if you're lactose intolerant, that's probably not the best way to go. April is Stress Awareness Month, and one expert offering tips to lessen stress in the morning, which will improve your mental health. Biana Prasad is a psychologist, and she says preparation is key in the morning.
Stress is our body's natural response to perceived challenges or threats. Over a period of time, it could become very harmful to both our mental health and our physical health if there is no what we call a recovery period.
Okay, she says that means getting out clothes like the night before, making meals and getting other things done also the night before. She also recommends avoiding picking up the phone right away in the morning and to try instead to meditate instead of picking up your phone. Okay. A ball drop set for Times Square this summer to celebrate America's 250th birthday, but don't expect any big crowds like you get on New Year's Eve.
That's because the New York City Department of Parks has issued an emergency order to restrict special events during the FIFA World Cup. The NYPD had advised that certain permit applications be denied for new events between June 11th and July 19th, concerned that the department doesn't have enough resources to ensure public safety for both major events on top of regular assignments. Organizers for the nation's birthday event say there will still be a live broadcast surrounding the ball drop at midnight on July 3rd, but it's unclear what kind of celebration it will be without massive crowds. In New York, I'm Kristen Marks.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today, the high 52. Tonight and overnight, a few clouds, low 40, and then warmer for Friday. Sunshine, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 32 and clear in Pearl River up in Rockland. It's 31 and clear in West Windsor over in New Jersey. And it's 34 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 540. What an emotional day out in Suffolk County. Rex Uerman's guilty plea came in the Gilgo Beach serial killer case, offering a measure of justice for families of his victims and some closure, apparently, to his own family as well. Now, what his lawyer is saying is that he decided to plead guilty to spare his family and the victims from hearing how he got and disposed of the people he killed, that he strangled them. These 7 murder charges. He admitted to killing an 8th woman as well. All he apparently had solicited for sex. So when that case was over, after he pled guilty, it was up to the families and Rex's wife to speak to the press, and they did. Liliana Waterman, Megan Waterman's daughter, was 3 when her mother was killed, and she spoke out outside the courtroom after this took place yesterday.
So my name is Elizabeth Meserve. I'm Megan Waterman's aunt, and I helped to raise her daughter. And on behalf of Megan, we definitely accept the plea.
My name is Liliana Waterman. I am the daughter of Megan Waterman, and on behalf of her and my aunt and all of our family back home, we do accept, and we are very, very thankful for everything that they've done for us.
And then it was Missy, the sister of Maureen Barnes, said the guilty plea brought some solace and a sense of relief after 19 years of living between heartbreak and hope.
To Maureen, the promise I made to you so long ago was simple. Sorry. I would never stop searching for justice for you. Through every year, every setback, every unanswered question, I carried you with me, and I kept that promise. And today, it has been done. Justice has finally found its way to you. Your voice was never silenced, your story never forgotten, and your life will always be more than the tragedy that took you.
Yeah, so Rex Uerman will be hauled back in court in June to be sentenced for what will likely be life behind bars without parole. But then it was up to Uerman's ex-wife, Asa Ellerup. She stood outside the courtroom with her daughter, Victoria. So many questions about what they may or may have not known about her husband, their father. Now, prosecutors defended the family. They said that the murders all were committed while the family was away and that there was no way they would have known about it. And then you think that they at least would have hauled the wife into court if they believed that she knew something about it. But here it was. After the case was over, she took to the mic. Again, this is Rex Heuermann's wife, to apologize to the families.
My thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. Their loss is immeasurable. And the focus should be on them at this time and moment. I ask that you give some privacy to my family as they navigate through this very difficult time.
Now, it wasn't a pretty scene, so she makes that statement, and then there's just you can imagine how many reporters are there to cover this event yesterday. And they say, wait a minute, what did you know about the crimes? Can you tell us anything? Started shouting questions at Asa Ellerup.
How did you not see what he was? How did you not see what he had done? You were living with him.
Sir, the district attorney's office has thoroughly investigated these crimes, okay? It has been proven.
You were living in the same house with him.
She was away. She was away each and every occasion. We've answered this 1,000 times, okay? You guys have the bail application. You have the investigation.
Also,
yeah, that's it. There's no questions, okay? Thank you.
And then he carted Ellerup away. I shouldn't say carted, but he walked with her away. Now, she has previously said that she found it very difficult to believe her husband was a serial killer because he never gave off any warning signs during their time together. I don't think we're going to hear too much else from Rex Heuermann's wife and daughter, except we've heard that they're working on some sort of documentary or film that would follow the case and what they know and what they don't know. But again, prosecutors suggest and have said they don't think they knew anything of what her husband, her dad, was doing during his spree of killing all those women over more than a decade. When we come back in a moment, we're going to give you the latest on Sean Diddy Combs, who's going to be back in a courtroom. We'll tell you why. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Start here on the Diamond in Queens. Mets fell 7-2 to the Diamondbacks. David Peterson permitted 5 runs in 5 innings. The left-hander who made the NL All-Star team last year has a 6.14 ERA this season and a 7.83 ERA in his last 12 starts dating back to August of last season. Up next for the Mets, Nolan McLean will start tonight's finale and rubber game of this 3-game series. First pitch is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. In the Bronx, Yankees lost 3-2 to the Athletics after Brent Rooker hit a go-ahead sac fly off David Bednar in the 9th inning. Up next for the Yankees, the lefty Ryan Weathers will get the start in this afternoon's rubber game finale of this 3-game set. First pitch from the Bronx is scheduled for 1:35. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat there.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, right there. I don't want to lose you on the air.
I think I'm good now.
Okay. You want me to take it back?
No,
okay.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Let me just clear the tears out of my eyes. On the hardwood tonight, the Knicks will welcome the Celtics.
The show must go on. That's Justin's motto, yeah.
Shot a little 30, oh my
A little tickle in your throat. Never hurt nobody, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Man, geez, how about a glass of water before you wake up?
Saturday night, actually.
The Nets, they're also in action tonight at 7:30. They're welcoming the Pacers. At MSG last night, the Rangers lost to the Sabres 5-3. Islanders, they're on the ice, back on the ice tonight at 6:45 against the Maple Leafs. Devils are welcoming the Penguins. And the 2026 Masters ceremonial tee-off featuring Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. That's scheduled for 7:25 for this morning. First group goes out at 7:40. Your favorite to win is Scotty Scheffler. That's your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:48. Sean Diddy Combs going to be back in a New York City federal courtroom today to appeal his conviction. He was sentenced to 50 months in prison back in October on 2 prostitution charges. His lawyer says the judge imposed an overly harsh sentence. So Combs was convicted back in July of transporting 2 ex-girlfriends, including singer Cassie Ventura, across state lines for sex and what he referred to at the time as freak-offs. More than 1 million residents could be impacted if crucial unionized building staff members go on strike at the end of this month.
Thousands of workers, including door persons, handymen, porters, and more, are getting ready to strike. They're fighting with the Realty Advisory Board on Labor Relations, or RAB, for wage increases and a restructuring of their health care premiums. RAB's president points to policy changes from the Mamdani administration regarding rent-stabilized increases as a reason they simply can't afford those wage bumps. The contract between the two sides expires April 20th.
As Mayor Mamdani nears 100 days in office, a new poll shows nearly half of New Yorkers approve of the job he's doing so far. The new Marist survey says 48% of city residents approve of Mayor Mamdani, 30% disapprove, 23% remain undecided. The poll says 55% view Mamdani favorably, 56% believe the city is moving in the right direction. And that's up from just 31% last October under former Mayor Adams. Current city comptroller Mark Levine said back in January that he plans to resume investment in Israeli bonds. So protesters, some people do not like that. They gathered outside Levine's office yesterday to demand that he not invest city funds in bonds tied to Israel, which they say would provide funding for Israel's bombing of Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza.
You know, it would be a disgrace to buy Israeli bonds, particularly at this moment, because are we supporting what he's doing in Lebanon? Are we supporting what he's doing in Gaza?
Now, in 2023, then, City Comptroller Brad Lander phased out the city pension fund holdings in those bonds by allowing them to mature without reinvesting them. But Levine said back in January he plans to resume investment in the bonds because he said they're actually a sound investment. Mayor Mamdani, who has been an outspoken critic of Israel, has pushed against these investment in Israeli bonds.
I don't think that we should purchase Israel bonds. We don't purchase bonds for any other sovereign nation's debt. And the controller has also made his position clear, and I continue to stand by mine.
Yeah, okay, so the controller, Mark Levine, not responding to this protest that took place outside of his office yesterday. Hungry Panda agreeing to pay $875,000 to hundreds of New York City restaurants after the city accused the meal delivery app of overcharging illegal fees. Department of Consumer Worker Protection Commissioner Sam Levine accuses Hungry Panda of using tricks and traps, including mystery charges, fuzzy math, as a way to make more money from immigrant-owned restaurants. So now they're going to have to pay these restaurants back.
Positioning itself as the go-to app for users more comfortable ordering in Asian languages, and then using that positioning to exploit the very businesses it was supposed to serve.
No comment from Hungry Panda on the matter.
If you think you can get away with ripping off immigrant businesses and workers in the city, you are mistaken. If you think you can bury junk fees and mystery charges, we will find them.
5:52, let's go up to the Bronx, where there's this disturbing video circulating online about, it's a dog attacking an opossum as the owner stood by and watched the attack took place. This was Monday morning, Grace Avenue in Baychester. So this woman happened to be on the street, and she could not believe that this dog owner let the dog repeatedly attack this animal, and he appears to watch on and does nothing about it. She says she was shocked. She said she was going to step in, but she said the dog was so vicious, she thought the dog might turn on her. She spoke to News 12.
It was one of the most horrific things that I have ever seen in my life. It was so horrible and sad to watch, and I really wanted to do more. I honestly wrestle with myself because I feel like I could have maybe done more.
Yeah, what is wrong with dog owners? So this dog owner, after letting the dog attack this opossum, walked away. She ran over to see if the opossum was okay. It was not. It was severely injured. She brought the animal to an animal hospital where it later died.
If you groom an animal to be violent, that animal is going to learn the taste for blood.
Yeah. NYPD, ASPCA, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, they all confirmed they're investigating the incident as a possible case of animal cruelty. If you watch that video, which I don't suggest you do, it's hard to watch. It does look like animal cruelty. 5:53. a Mount Vernon police officer facing felony charges after prosecutors say he attempted to deposit a stolen check worth more than $800,000. Brandon Hunter Carney, who joined the Mount Vernon Police Department just in 2023, was arraigned yesterday. According to prosecutors, he allegedly stole this check, made out to an Alabama-based company, and then he created a New York business with the same name, and then he attempted to deposit this check. Neighbors say this arrest adds to their growing concerns because it comes just a week after another Mount Vernon officer was charged in a separate case.
I mean, the behavior is out of control. Every time we turn around, more stuff keep happening.
Yeah, police pushing back against this. They say the alleged crimes occurred before the officers joined the department. 5:54. Let's go over to New Jersey, where police are searching for some brazen robbers who broke into a jewelry store. They smashed the storefront of this jewelry store yesterday, middle of the day. Then they brought in garbage bags, and then they pulled out the garbage bags, filled them with jewelry, as this mom and her daughter who owned the jewelry store screamed at them to leave. And then as they started to walk out of the store through the same front window that they had smashed in, the mother and daughter tried to chase them down, tried to grab the backs of jewelry back. Here was an eyewitness to it all.
She was like, help, 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 help. She fought with them like a man. She's a brave woman. Stephanie, she's a brave woman, but I feel so sad for her mother. Her mother fell away. She fell. It was too much.
Yeah, as the robbers tried to make their getaway in a getaway car, there was one thing they did not expect, that these two women would fight them. They did. One of the women tried to hold on to the car. I mean, she fell to the ground as this BMW pulled away, and it was just an ugly scene. Middle of the day, Perth Amboy, it was, people say it was just freaky to see these guys. They were walking. They smashed this front window in. They grabbed the jewelry. They're not even running away, just walking away into their BMW and then driving away.
One of my workers, she get out from here, and then she tried to stop the car, and then I was behind her, tried to grabbing her. But there is a point that you get so nervous that you get frustrated, and then you turn to the back, because you don't know if those people have, guns.
Right. They didn't know if they had guns. They drove away. Police have not caught up with them. We'll end on a happier note. Remember yesterday we told you about Rocky, the dog that was snatched from his backyard in Clifton, New Jersey by a mom and her young child? I mean, it was crazy. Doorbell camera video of this mom pulling over in her car with her young son and then grabbing this dog off the lawn. They clearly knew it was not theirs. The dog had a harness and a collar on. Anyway, yesterday, Rocky was found and reunited with his family. Here's the family members who say, thank God they have Rocky back home. It was stolen from them on Saturday.
Great. So, such a great feeling like that we recovered him and he's going to go back home.
Thankfully, friends and family, they came through tremendously. Great family and friends. I mean, the support that we've gotten from everyone, truly, truly tremendous.
All right, so police were able to figure out who this woman was because the video was so clear, this doorbell camera, and they tracked her down. But they haven't charged her with anything, and they told us they're still talking to her, which I'm not sure what that means. But they're celebrating Rocky over at the Chan family household.
I'm really happy. I was really stressed out these past few days, but now it's just like, oof.
Definitely steak.
Whatever you want.
Love steak.
I love steak. If I get a steak bigger than him.
Yeah, Rocky's going to get a steak, and we'll see if that mom is charged for stealing the dog. She should be, but maybe there's more to the story.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.